Welcome back everyone to the next portion of the financial videos. In this section, what we're going to be covering is the end of day, and more specifically the end of day post set. And what that end of day post set is it's a post set that contains all of the receipts that were taken in by a court, all users in a specific time period. We're also going to be looking at some of the reports that go along with the end of day to help you guys reconcile your end of day with your cashier drawer. So let's go ahead and take a look at the end of day. So I've already taken in a few receipts. I've taken in 3 of them. One of them is for cash, another for check, and another one for credit card. You're going to see those 3 receipts in this post set, and then we're going to see what it looks like when we reconcile our end of day to our cashier drawer. So the end of day is located in the financial management module. So what we're going to do is go up to the top left-hand corner here and go select modules, and we're going to go to financial management. From here, we're going to want to go up to functions and then EOD cash book. As you probably already guessed, EOD stands for end of day. So this is our end of day cash book. What that's going to bring us to is the cash book interface posting set selection screen. This is going to go ahead and list all of our end of day post sets, starting from the most recent one, which should be in an open for receiving status, all the way down to your oldest. What you're going to see is that there is first opened. That date is going to coincide with the booking date time for the previous end of day post set. And that's because once we close a post set, another one opens up automatically. And so these 2 dates are going to match up. To the right of the posting set open date, we're going to see the booking date time. This is going to be the date that we decided to finally move it into a closing post set once we close it. To the right of that one, this is when we actually post it as final. And then to the right of that one, we're going to see what status this post set is in. And currently this one is in a open for receiving posting set status. There are 3 statuses that an end of day post set can be in. The first one being the open for receiving. If it is in an open for receiving status, then that means that any receipt that is taken by the court is going to go into this post set. The next one that we'll take a look at, and we don't see it just here, is the cash book maintenance. This allows us to close a post set and for the system to open up a new post set for receipt to go into, and it allows us to take that cash book maintenance end of day post set and make changes to it if necessary. And then the last status that we have is the posted as final. And as you can imagine, once something is posted as final, no changes can be made to it. So let's go ahead and take a look at this first post set here. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight it. And what we want to do in order to view the receipts that are in this post set is you do not want to go up to the open. I'll go ahead and show you guys what that looks like. I'm going to go ahead and hit open up here, and it's just going to give you some information regarding this end of day post set. It's going to let you know how much was actually receipted in there and just about, and then who opened it. Just some small things that could help you. But if we want to look into the receipts, we want to go ahead and just go back one screen from here. And what we actually want to go into is the third Dynalink on the left called maintenance. And we're going to go ahead and hit that one. At the top, you'll see that we do have some different search criteria. So if you're looking for a specific receipt, you're more than welcome to go ahead and enter that into the receipt number field. Below that, we have received from. If you know who the payment was received from, we can enter it here. If you know what status the receipt is in for the post set, you can select one from here. If you know the case number, the reference number, if you know when the receipt was taken in within some type of begin or end date, if it had an error, and then who had actually taken it from the court. So the user, you can enter in the username from there. So I'm going to go ahead and leave all of these blank and then just hit search at the top. What this is going to do is it's just going to pull in all the receipts in this post set. There we go. And as I stated earlier, receipts, so that's what we should be seeing in here. I'm going to go ahead and actually just open up this first one here and just show you guys what it looks like behind the scenes for a receipt. So I'm going to go ahead and choose highlight the receipt and then just do an open real quick. All right, so you're getting a little more information regarding that receipt than what's actually shown on the other screen. So up top, we're going to go ahead and see the case number that this receipt was on. We're going to see the parties on there, the prosecutor and then the defendant. And then below that, if there were any comments that were added to it, we're going to see them in this section here. The receipt number, the receipt date, the location, if you guys added a receipt location, who was received from, on behalf of, who was this for, and then who entered in this receipt. Right below there, you're going to see some similarities from when we actually take in the receipts. We're going to see what tender type was used, if a reference number was associated to this receipt, how much the payment was for, and on the right-hand side, we'll see what costs were actually, how the money actually went into these costs, and or how much of the payment was actually applied to the fees, to the cost dockets. Below that, what we're going to go ahead and see is we have the accounts that the money was distributed into. So of this $20, we know that it went into AA fees, but with these cost dockets, we do have at times multiple accounts that are associated in the background, and there's a breakdown in there. A certain dollar amount or a percentage can go into these accounts. So in this situation, we just have the single AA fee, the state AOC account tied to this cost docket. So what we're seeing down here is just one account, and we saw that the $20 was applied to this account. So when we process our end of month, $20 should be dispersed out of this account here. So we'll discuss some of those disbursements and how those look once we process the end of month, once we do the end of month video. So for now, just keep that in mind, just you have a little more information regarding this receipt and other receipts when you open up that receipt from the maintenance screen. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit close on this one time. So now we're back on this screen here. And what we're seeing is that the first receipt at the very top is gonna be the oldest receipt. And then it's going to go down to the newest. So what we have listed here is the receipt number, the case that was received to, who was received from, the date it was received, and the total amount. If you do not see a case in the description field, do not worry. That just means that that receipt was for non-case receipting. We went through that through the receipting portion, so we know that the non-case receipts are not associated to any single case. It could be for a copy or certified copies, mailing, things like that. So whenever you see no case there, just remember it's for non-case receipting. So to the left of all these receipts over here, you have a few options. There are disbursements and reapply. These ones we typically use when we're trying to troubleshoot some type of receipt. So these ones don't play too big of a role. What are important in this one for more of the court level is the adjustments and the reprint. Adjustments, as we've already seen in some of the older videos, we saw how to reverse and adjust the receipt. So this Dynalink here does exactly that. We would highlight the receipt and then hit adjust, and that would reverse the receipt out from the post set or the case as well. And then we also have reprint. So if you're needing another copy of the receipt, you can always hit reprint and it'll print out another receipt. I'm gonna go ahead and go back on this one time. And what I'm gonna go ahead and do now is I'm gonna go ahead and start closing this out. So the first things first that you wanna do prior to go ahead and closing everything is you wanna make sure that your guys's deposits look good. So at the end of the day, what you guys are going to be doing is you're going to be closing your end of day, and then you're also going to be reconciling against your cashier drawer. So what I want to go ahead and do first is I want to go over to the cashier drawer. So I'm going to go up to modules at the top left-hand corner and go to case management. And then I'm also going to go to functions and then cashier drawer. Here is my most recent, or my open cashier drawer. I had a beginning balance of $40. And as we saw in the end of day post set, I had a cash receipt for $20. So that's why we're seeing 60 here. Credit card, we have 20 and then check for 25. So we know that we have a total of what we should have on hand is $105, but what we actually just took into the system is 65. So let's go ahead and see if that's how it looks in the cashier drawer. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the reports, in the end of day. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of these screens over here. And the next thing that I want to show you before we actually start closing this out is the receipt listing report. If you highlight this end of day post set, and on the left, go to receipt listing, it's going to come up with this little message prompt saying the receipt listing user selection screen. This is going to allow us to select an individual user to run this report on. So if I hit this drop down menu, it's going to list all the users in the court who had taken in some receipt. If you have clerk A who didn't take any receipts for that day, they're not going to show up, or if they didn't take any receipts that were in this end of day post set, then their name is not going to appear. But if clerk B, Miguel M. Hernandez, if that person had taken in some receipts during when this end of day post set was open, then their name will appear. So, and then if you just select this blank field here, it's going to run the report for all users. I'm going to go ahead and leave it on this blank space here. And then what I'm going to go ahead and do is select this post set summary only checkbox. What this is going to do is it's not going to give us all the details for every single receipt that was taken in for this post set. It's just going to give us a basic summary. Let's go ahead and see how that looks. So I'm going to go ahead and check this box here, and then I'm going to hit OK. It's going to come up with another message prompt asking us if we want to print this report to the screen or send it to a printer so that we have a physical copy. I think it's important. It's up to you guys and how you guys would like to process this. If you guys would like to keep these reports for your end of day and just keep them stored away, you're more than welcome to do the to printer. But for this example here, I'm just going to do a to screen to just look at and see what we've taken in for this end of day post set. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and magnify that a little bit. So we took $65 in total, and that's what we're seeing here. Post set total is $65. And then down here below, we're seeing that there should be a bank deposit total of 65, which is correct. We saw 105 in the cashier drawer, but minus 40, that gives us 65. So you're more than welcome to print this out and include this on your end of day reporting, but that is up to the court. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out. And then what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and select the post set one more time and go to receipt listing once more. This time, I'm not going to check this box. I'm going to leave it unchecked, and I'm just going to run the report and print it to screen. Here, then, you're going to see all the receipts that were in this post set and how it was dispersed. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down just a bit. Here, we're going to see there are multiple accounts that were associated with this receipt. We know that there was a core facility fee docket, a genetic marker analysis fee docket, and a specialty court fee docket. Then below that, we're seeing all the accounts that are associated to those three accounts and how much was dispersed into each of those accounts. I'm going to go ahead and go back up real quick. On the top left-hand corner, you'll see that there's the next and previous, and I'm going to go ahead and use next to kind of go sift through some of these pages here. Once again, we're just going to see more totals here. We're going to see how much for the deposit transactions we have. I'm going to go ahead and skip over once more. Again, now this is giving us the post set summary. So it is included with the, when you leave that summary checkbox unchecked, it still will include this post set summary here. So I'm going to keep going to next. And then here what it's doing is it's going to break down every single tender type that was accepted in this end of day post set. So this is the bank adjustment debit listing. Nothing was taken in. Going to keep going. The credit, going to go ahead and keep going. Cash, here we did take in the one receipt for cash. It's letting us know the case number, the receipt number. If there were a reference number, it's going to include it here. And then on the far right, it's going to let us know the totals. At the very bottom, once you guys start taking in more receipts, you guys will see more records appear. And this cash total is going to total how much cash you have taken in. Keep in mind that these receipts, if you were to select a single user, it will only list the tender transactions for that specific user. But if we leave that as blank, it's going to pull in all the receipts that had cash for all the users in the court that receipted. I'm going to go ahead and just keep going. So next, here we have our credit cards. Once again, you guys see now that there is a reference number associated to this receipt, so it gets listed on here. I'm going to keep going. Next, now we have checks. So any type of tender that you guys have in the court, it's going to be listed on this report. So I'm just going to keep going, and then that looks like that's it. So this is very useful when having to troubleshoot or reconcile against your guys' cashier drawer. So we know that for check, we took 25. I'm going to go previous one time. Credit card, we took 20. Could go back one more. And cash, we took 20. So $65. So once we go into our cashier drawer, we should be able to use this report to verify that, yes, I should have these amounts in the cashier drawer. I did mention also in the cashier drawer video that the end of day and the cashier drawer do not talk to each other. There is no link between them. You can have multiple end of day post sets closed and have just one single cashier drawer have all of those receipts that you took in for those multiple end of day post sets. And that happens by vice versa as well. So it's always important that when you guys are doing your end of day, and it's something that we highly recommend on the service desk, is to, when you're closing your end of day post sets, make sure that you're closing your cashier drawers as well, because it is difficult to try to troubleshoot an issue when you have multiple days worth of receipts in your cashier drawer or your end of day post set. When those dates don't coincide, it does make things difficult. So we recommend to do that every day, but if not, and if you guys are doing it every other day, then just make sure that when you're closing your end of day post sets, the cashier drawer is being closed as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and close out of this. We know the totals now. And so before I go ahead and close this, I wanna make sure that my cashier drawer matches up with what's being reported in the end of day. So I'm gonna go up to modules, case management, functions, and then cashier drawer. All right, so there we go. We have 60 minus 40, that would have been 20 for the cash, 20 for credit cards, that's correct, and then check for 25. Perfect. All right, so now from here, what we want to do is, now that we have, if you were to have that receipt listing report, it would give you all your reference numbers and everything. I have them written down, I didn't have it out printed. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm just going to go ahead and finish doing this cashier drawer real quick. So we're going to go first into the cash total, and we're going to go into the ellipsis button, and we're just going to start putting in our money. So we're supposed to have $60 for this. So let's say that we started the day off with 2 20s. That's the 40. And let's say that an individual came in and made $20 payment using a $20 bill. So we're going to go ahead and say that we have 3 $20 bills. There we go. And again, guys, I did go over some of this and how to open, close, and add all this information to the cashier drawer video. So if you don't understand what's going on here or are a little bit lost, I would recommend going back and taking a look at the cashier drawer video. All right, so that looks good. We're gonna go ahead and hit save. Awesome, so now that's telling me that there is no, it's not over, it's not under, that's perfect. So now we're gonna go to the ellipsis button for the credit cards. Awesome, so now we're gonna go ahead and put in that reference number, which was CC hyphen, and then it was 1, 2, 3, 4. And then that amount was for $20. So tab off. Save. Oop, it looks like I messed up there. So I'm gonna go back here real quick, that's why. So count, that's actually 1, and tab off, and there we go. So now we're gonna go ahead and hit save here. There we go, that looks much better. No over or under, and not under thousands of dollars, or over thousands of dollars. So now we're gonna go over to the check total line, and then we're gonna go ahead and put in the reference number for this one. The check number for this one was 1,000. It was only one count, and then the total was for 25. Save. There we go. So once more, guys, all we did was we checked our cash, credit card, and check totals in the receipt listing report, and then we made sure that that matched up with what is actually being reported on hand for our cashier drawer. So now that everything looks good, we can go ahead and close out this drawer. It's going to ask if we want the reporting. I would recommend printing this out and including it with your end of day. Since I'm not doing any of that, I'm going to go ahead and just do no. Boom, that is now closed out. So now for our end of day processing, our cashier drawer, it's been reconciled against, it balances, closed out. And then what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm actually going to go back up to functions, since once we close out the cashier drawer, it closes that page automatically. I'm going to go back up to functions and cashier drawer. And there we go. We have a brand new cashier drawer and we're ready to start receipting again. So now that we have a new cashier drawer open, the only thing that's left at this point is to go ahead and close our end of day. So I'm going to go ahead and hit close. I'm going to exit out of this, and I'm going to go here. Just going to hit search at the top real quick. All right. So cashier drawer matches up with our end of day. So now we know that we're good to close this end of day post set. So I'm going to highlight the post set itself, and on the left-hand side, I'm going to do close posting set. It's going to ask us if we want to post the receipts to our cash book, and we're going to go ahead and put yes. And make sure that you only hit yes if you're sure you want to go ahead and start closing out your end of day. If you have any issues or something's not balancing correctly, please give us a call on the trial court service desk before you do this post receipts to cash book, because once we do, it's a little more difficult to start troubleshooting, but we absolutely can still help you guys. So we have verified that everything looks good, so I'm going to go ahead and hit yes. All right, so keep in mind that once you hit yes, the more receipts you have in your end of day post set, it may take longer to process. So since I only had 3 receipts in there, it was pretty quick, but you can imagine if it's a busy day, that if you have 50 receipts, it could take a little longer than just what you saw there. All right, so here we see that now the receipt is actually, or the end of day post set is put into it in cash book maintenance. And then we see that a new cashier drawer or new end of day post set was open. So what happens here is that now that we have said that we put this one into closed posting set, a new end of day post set was open. So any type of receipt that we take in from this point forward will end up going into this new end of day post set, which is listed as open for receiving. So this is a great opportunity, and we always recommend this stuff too. If you guys are having some type of issue with your financials, but you guys want to start receipting in money, but you don't want to have those receipts affect the end of day post set that's in question, then you guys can always just close it and leave it in cash book maintenance. It'll open up a new cashier drawer or end of day post set, and it will allow you to start receipting, and you guys can start troubleshooting the end of day post set that may not be in balance. Okay, so now another thing that you guys maybe have noticed, that a booking date time has now been entered into this field here. The final posting date time is still blank because we still haven't posted this as final. So once we know that there are no issues with this end of day, we can simply go from in cash book maintenance straight into the posted as final. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and highlight this receipt or this end of day post set, and on the left we're just going to post. So remember that this does post it as final. Once we do post it as final, we cannot change any of the receipts in there. So this will move your post set to final, proceed, and if you're sure, go ahead and hit yes. If you're not sure, go ahead and hit no. Gonna go ahead and hit yes. GL extraction, interface extraction complete, awesome, hit okay. Now it's gonna move it to posted as final. There we go. We just went ahead and reconciled our end of day post set to our cashier drawer, use that receipt listing to make sure that our deposit for the day is correct. And the last thing that we recommend doing, and I'm going to go ahead and show this, is to make sure that your accounts balance listing report and your bank balance listing report match up. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Again, it's just something that we recommend that you guys do every day. We recommend that you guys run these 2 reports that I'm about to show you every day, only because if you guys have any type of financial discrepancy, it's much better to know the day of, as opposed to going 20 more post sets in and then having to troubleshoot it. All right, so let's go ahead then and take a look at those 2 reports here. So we're still in the financial management module. All we're going to do at the top is go to reports and do first the account balance listing. So the account balance listing window is going to come up here. And so what we need to do now is just put in our bank account. So for us, it's just this Test Justice Court. The cash book, once again, is the Test Justice Court. And now you'll see that some dates automatically populate for this start date. What we want to do for the end of day and making sure that everything balances is the start date. I'm going to go ahead and hit this little gray box here. I'm going to go ahead and run it on the post set that we just closed. Hit select. End date should be the same thing. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the little gray box, and I'm going to choose the most recent posted as final post set. That should be the one that we just closed out. Do select, awesome. And so then so the difference between the start date and end date and then the EOP, which is end of period start date, is these ones allow you to run the report on an end of day post set. Whereas the end of period start and end dates, those allow you to run this report based off of end of month post sets. All right, so there we go, Prince 2. I'm going to go ahead and do this one to screen just so that we can take a look at it. Bear in mind that I do go into much more detail on the account balance listing and bank balance listing reports in the end of month video, and that's only because we highly recommend do your end of months. The amounts that you guys that are listed in those reports are accurate with what you guys are reporting. So again, I'm not going to go into too much detail. I'm just going to show which amounts should match up to which reports, what totals in the other report. So hit screen. We're going to go ahead and hit OK. And some of these reports, they do take a while. So here we go. Perfect. So awesome. So there's not very many accounts on here, as you guys are seeing, but for your guys' courts and your guys' end of days, you guys might be seeing a lot more accounts. It may go down all the way down to here. So it's just dependent on how busy you guys are and how many receipts you're taking in for the day. I'm going to go to next real quick. All right, so this is the second page, and what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to pull up the snipping tool from Windows. And I'm just going to copy this portion here. That way we can take a look at the other report and compare it to this one. So right now we just took a quick little screenshot of the account balance listing. I'm going to go ahead and hit close out of the report, and then I'm going to go back up to reports and do the bank balance listing. We're going to choose our bank account, which is going to be the test for this one. You're going to select your cash book. Once more, you're going to choose your start date, the start date, end dates, and then the EOP start date and end dates. Those are going to be similar to the ones before, whereas this one does it on end of days. The end of periods are for the end of months. So since we want to run this on an individual post set, we're going to go ahead and do the start date. We're going to select the very top one, which is posted as final. Select end date, same thing. I'm going to select that. We're going to choose to print this to screen and hit OK. Oop, looks like I hit that. Let's see. Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. So then we're going to switch that over to screen and hit OK. There we go. So what I'm going to do now is bring up our last one here. Minimize that a little bit. So remember that this, the one from the snipping tool, this is our account balance listing. This was the second page that we saw from that report. What we want to do on the bank balance listing report is match up the beginning balance, which is $29,505, to this total bank transactions line for beginning balance as well. So we see that that $29,505 matches up. Excellent. I'm going to go ahead and check mark. So then we're going to go ahead and look at the debit totals, which should be nothing. Debit totals, we see 0, check. Credit total, we have $65, $65 for the account balance listing. Excellent. That gets a check mark. And then lastly, our current balance is $29,570, which matches up with the ending balance on the account balance listing. There we go. So here we know that our accounts in CoreView and the bank account in CoreView all match up. That means that our end of day matches up perfectly. There's no discrepancies. We're all set. So we're going to go ahead and close out of there. And that right there is how we process the end of day in CoreView.